All right. Welcome, everybody, to our November 14th meeting, Architecture Review Board here in the council chambers. If you would like there, Brian, would you mind calling this meeting to order? Or I called it to order. Just roll call, please.
You called it to order, Mr. Chair, and I'll call the roll. Board Member O'Connor.
Present.
Board Member Little. Present. Vice Chair Blakemore.
Here.
Chair Stein.
And I am here also. Thank you very much.
We're missing Richard Johnson. He may show up, but for now we'll note him as absent, and then we can change that if he does appear.
Okie dokie. All right. Now's the time on our agenda for items that are not on our agenda. Public comment period.
And I'll make two announcements, Mr.
Okay,
Chair.
thank you.
One announcement is we do have, so you have two. I've forwarded those to you via email. There are two public comment letters, one for an item that is on our agenda. The other I would classify as a general public comment. So if you want to just note that we do have that one from Mr. Moore, appears to be a general public comment. We can just note that for the record.
So noted, my good man.
All right, and then I do have an announcement. So for those of you in attendance for the Franklin Creek Trail project, that will not be heard at tonight's ARB meeting. Staff apologizes if you did receive the notice. We thought we got all of those out at the last moment before they went out in the mail, but we've pulled that item, and that will be rescheduled likely for the meeting in January. We wanted to do some coordination with our local coastal commission office before that one is ready to be heard. So that will not be heard on tonight's agenda. I apologize. I guess it's better to over notice than under notice, but that will not be heard tonight. So tonight we just do have the one agenda for final review, and then we do have a matters by staff item when we get there.
Okay, but you're all welcome to stay and enjoy the evening and festivities here. It's very exciting, by the way. So, okay, we're going to be coming down to our first project item. It's 4675 Carpinteria Avenue. And who will be presenting?
Well, it looks like I'll be
Presenting.
presenting. I
Okay.
will be presenting.
Good, Brian.
Hopefully, it will be straightforward.
Yeah.
So this project is the Cruise mixed-use building at 4675 Carpinteria Avenue. Your board's seen it several times previously. It's noted in the staff report. The last time you saw it was at an in-progress review previously, and I'll take you through. So the applicant has responded. There were some questions about potentially internally inconsistent sections, and then some comments that were the board had and the planning commission had about working with the neighbors on the surrounding perimeter wall and fencing. And so we've got that. We've got that addressed. There you go.
You?
There he is. We've got him.
How did, sure.
I'm going
Where'd
to
you come from? Man,
change that
drop from the
absent
sky.
into a check. So congratulations on that. So we'll move along here. Just as a reminder, project, actually the grading operation is underway right now. So it's the vacant lot here, Franklin Creek here, Arbor Trailer Park adjacent, 9th Street to the back, but here along Carp Ave, kind of across the street from, what is that? I can't remember the name of that development there.
Oh, across the street?
Oh, gosh.
Lavender Court.
Is that
Yes.
Lavender? Yeah, it is Lavender. Yeah, you're right. So kind of catty-corner to Lavender.
My physical therapist is right there.
It's not Lavender. It's the
It's-
blue and white ones. Yeah. Yeah.
Village Garden.
There you go. See, we needed you guys in the room.
Yeah, thank you.
As a reminder, the project is a two-story mixed-use building. We've got 2 residential units above and a smaller commercial space below, including 2 single-car garages and a 2-car carport. The original preliminary review meeting was on September 16th of 2021, and at that meeting, responding to comments from the previous conceptual review meeting, including comments about reducing the height and reconfiguring the porch, balcony, and so forth. All of those you had last seen when it returned for its in-progress review, preliminary and in-progress reviews. All of those items have been taken care of. So tonight, we're focusing on, I should say that ultimately after the preliminary review meeting, the project did go to the Planning Commission for its required decision. The Planning Commission did approve it unanimously, and specifically, the Planning Commission asked the applicant and the neighbors and ARB to work together to address the property wall design and details. Now coming back to more recent event here, the in-progress review meeting on June 29th of 23. At that meeting, we did have neighbor comments, and the general consensus was a preference for the perimeter block wall rather than fencing, which was part of the approved project. And the ARB's comments were ensure that the plan elevations and floor plans are internally consistent. I'll take you through those. Ensure that the sections are accurate. Take you through those. And then the important comment here to address those neighbor comments was to propose an attractive paint or finish for the perimeter block walls, which the applicant has provided, and I'll take you through those as well. As a reminder, and in these renderings, it shows a fence, but that's just, I think, how the rendering software generates we do have a perimeter block wall and then a small portion of fence to provide some privacy, as was kind of worked out with the neighbors and the applicant. So the design, actually, this is identical, I think, to the last time you saw it in the in-progress review. Related to the sections, I think that was a good comment. I think the way that the plans were presented wasn't as clear as it could have been, but the plans included so there's 2 types of sections. There's site sections, and then there's the typical architectural section. So I broke out the presentation just to show where we had our section lines drawn in here, both through the site and architecturally. And so this is a site section. This would be slicing through in the east-west direction. So this is, you would be viewing it from the rear rather than on the Carpinteria Avenue side. It shows our perimeter block walls in section, and then I have a closer in view, but this little element is an additional 2 feet of wood picket material that was placed on top to address some of those comments about privacy and the visual kind of barrier to the site. And note that this project does include a substantial amount of fill because it was in the flood hazard overlay and required elevating the finished floor to comply with the base flood elevation requirements. So that's why you see here this material. So functionally, this wall is a retaining wall and not just a perimeter block wall. The other section going longitudinally, so Carpinteria Avenue here on the right, the rear of the property line. So same thing, you'll see the fairly substantial amount of fill. I think it's like about 4 feet or a little more than that of fill that had. Some of the confusion was too, probably in looking at the plans, you see these line here's which relate to the architectural section, but wanted to break out and show that we had 2 different types of sections that were provided. Here's a detail, just zooming in. It's the same as you'll see here, but just kind of zooming. What's going to happen with that perimeter block wall. So here we see our CMU, or concrete masonry unit wall, and then the additional 2 feet of the, and you can see it here in the background, the fence pickets to provide that that additional bit of privacy.
Brian, the L-shaped foundation goes into the project?
Correct. So this would be project interior,
Retaining.
project interior. So this is technically, it's a retaining wall, not just a perimeter block wall. And now we'll take you to the architectural sections, and you'll see we have those drawn here. Just as a reminder, Carpinteria Avenue over here. This is the front porch element. This area here is the commercial space, and then these are the stairs. So you enter on the porch, and this is open, and the doors to the commercial space are beyond. So you would, the residents would come up the stairway and then hang a right, and then head up the stairway, and then these are the doors to the commercial space here. This is a carport that provides a 1 ADA space, and then an additional covered but not garaged space, and then these are both single car garages for the residential units. Second floor, pretty straightforward. 2 units, just side by side, mirror images of each other. Nothing has changed, and actually nothing has changed in terms of the design at all, in terms of floor plan or elevations or those kind of things, just the final details and the clarifications of the sections. One of the sections, again, sliced through the site. You'll see the commercial area and garage space below, and then these are, again, just mirror images of the 2 units, Units A and Unit B up above. And here we do have our site section as well. Another section through, this is about kind of halfway through. I think this is kitchen wall. Can't remember kitchen or bathroom wall here, but you'll see kind of the arrangement, again, commercial space and garage and or carport below. Project elevations, I apologize, hard to read, but if you'll see on the plans, we've got the elevation notes noting the materials, roofing materials, siding, and we do have a color material board matching those elevation notes that I'll get to here in a moment. But again, from your last review, nothing's really changed from the in-progress drawing in terms of elements in that architectural details. Again, just the rear elevation, kind of the same thing. Side elevation, so this would be the east, so you can see it's kind of deceiving in elevation 2 because we're taking a straight shot here, but these are the 2 carport spaces here, and then these are the 2 garage spaces. Again, Carpinteria Avenue here, the little kind of walk-up porch, and this would be the top patio kind of stair landing as you come up the stairs to the second level. The opposite side, on the west, same deal, Carpinteria Avenue over here. Colors and materials, these match what you had reviewed last time. The new element based on the ARB's comments are they've provided the additional information on the wall. So, a plaster finish, painted plaster, and the wood pickets on top would be the same, painted the same color. Shingle siding, all of these details remain the same. The comp roof, the dark comp roof, gutters and downspouts, and so forth. So again, stucco, plaster finished wall, wood pickets, 2-foot wood pickets on top, painted in the same color. And the applicant did indicate that the expectation is that it would be finished on both sides.
Okay.
There are the full structural details. I didn't include them in the presentation, but in terms of architectural details, you experienced folks who understand these, but very simple wood frame construction, and these are the typical details. Again, in the plan set, we have several sheets with all of the structural details and more more involved construction methods and details. In terms of the light fixture, we have what staff believes is meeting the intent of our dark sky compliance, fully shielded, kind of farm style. I guess you'd call it a Portsmouth, but like a farm style fixture that would meet our requirements in terms of fully shielded and downward facing. Landscape plan, a little more developed. Staff did make sure that they had their water compliance information. It's a very simple landscape plan, as you can see, but we did need to, it's a building code requirement now to make sure that they had their water calculations, so they did those as well. I don't know, Vice Chair Blakemore, if you had any questions about that I can answer. I think it's pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of room, so I think it would appear, based on previous ARB comments, that the focus here was to plant where, excuse me, planting space was available. I believe these are arbutus, the trees, and then some smaller shrubs in front. Here's our planting details and our water compliance statement. Again, the additional details should be on the landscape plans there, but I didn't include them in all of the details in the presentation. Irrigation and so forth should be on the plans. We'll let Vice Chair Blakemore confirm that everything looks good there. We'd like your feedback on the architectural details, the design and details for the shared property line walls, which were the main topic of discussion from the last meeting. Building colors and materials, the exterior light fixture and night sky compliance, and landscape plan. Should everything look good, we'd like your recommendation. We do have at least one speaker slip for public comment. Like to get your feedback, and then if everything looks good and consistent, then we'd like your recommendation for final approval to the director, since this had already gone to the Planning Commission and it was approved by the Planning Commission. This would just go to the director to make sure that everything looks good for final approval. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Brian. Any questions for Brian?
I just have one.
Yeah.
You mentioned in the report here that there's a encroachment slightly into the city, Carp Avenue. How much of an encroachment is it?
Board Member Little, I don't recall. I kind of adopted this after it was already approved, but that part of the encroachment permit process, there was issues with the driveway, as I recall, and the radius and the sidewalk relationship there that got resolved through the Public Works grading and frontage improvement review process before they were able to get their grading permit. So I don't know the exact dimension there.
It's pretty minimal, so.
As I recall, it was small, but there was a relationship there with like the radius of the driveway and the apron and the improvements that had to be done there. And there's certain city standards. I believe my recollection was there are certain city standards that it couldn't comply with, so it required this modification or deviation from the standard because of the driveway location into it was a vacant lot before. And I think there was a water meter issue too, if I recall correctly.
Okay. All right, no one else. Applicant, anything to add?
Come on up.
Come on. Well, I'd say come on down, but that's probably, name that price.
Ubaldo, make sure you push the button so your green light goes on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that he said everything that
Okay.
needed to be said. We just want to ensure that we are willing to, to work on the perimeter walls to satisfy, what the
Yeah.
neighbors.
The actual only question I have is now the walls were coming lower and then you're going to add a 2-foot fence to the top, or are you going to take it masonry CMU all the way up?
Well, that was the original idea, just
Yeah.
to have the CMU wall all the way to the top, but
Right.
then it's the same height. We are just replacing 2
Hey,
feet.
Ubaldo, can
Oh.
you bring your mic up and speak? So
Sorry.
Yeah, we are just replacing the top 2 feet with wood. So,
okay.
But it's the same height. We are not increasing the height.
No. What I meant was instead of doing the wood top would you prefer going with the CMU? Because again, that's more long-term
Yes.
versus the wood and less maintenance, so.
Yes.
I don't know, that would be my preference as well, and I'm sure the neighbors next door, privacy-wise, would like that.
Okay,
But-
yeah, we are,
And
Yeah.
Mr. Chair,
I'm
you
just
could,
one.
yeah, and if there's a motion that you get there,
Okay.
it could be, that could be a requirement, or it can be an option, however you guys would like to pose it.
Okay, thank you.
I think the general concept here was to get the additional 2 feet
Yeah.
to help out with the privacy concern.
That's what
Yeah.
my aim was too, so, thank you. Okay, any questions for the applicant? No, I think you've done a good job with this.
thank you,
Really nice.
thank you.
Okay, if no one has any questions for the applicant, public comment, I have.
Thank you.
Wait, don't, I'll have a follow-up on that you'll be
Okay.
amazed with.
Okay.
Okay, Karen, come on up and, either place.
Okay, so I've added a couple of comments because
Good.
of things I just heard. So I was under the impression that it was a 9-foot cedar block fence, wall. And now you're talking about, and then I realized that that's 3 feet into the ground. So it's actually only, whatever, what's my math? So when you're talking about, I would actually love to see on top of a 9-foot cedar block, I still would like to see a picket, because there are still going to be people that, I was going to say idiots, but, people who are going to climb on and come over and, Anyway, if there was a picket fence on top of the cedar block, because we're already higher on our Arbor Trailer Park side, we're already higher, and a lot of us have walkways or stairways right there. And again, as I said, I was thinking from my ground up 9 feet, and that's not the case. So anyway, that's my comment.
Okay.
Did you follow? You had a look on your face
Well,
like I.
So if I'm reading this correctly,
Right.
of the 9 feet of the wall, 2 of that is pickets. So it isn't 2 feet on top of the 9 feet.
Correct.
Feet of the 9 is
Right, yes,
pickets.
okay, but so we were under the impression, I thought in my notes, in listening, I guess because I loved the idea of a 9-foot worth of cedar block, that's what I had always come away with.
Okay,
And,
it's CMU, not cedar block, just so you know, it's concrete.
So essentially, Karen, it's
Yeah.
approximately like 7.5 feet on the exterior of the wall with 2 feet, if I'm reading that correctly, here of the picket fence pickets on top.
okay, and then the comment between, these two were saying that he'd like to just see cedar, because, rather than
No,
cinder.
cinder block.
You can
Okay,
I would
cement.
actually
I was
like to
trying
see
to
that.
change to CMU, but it
Yeah,
didn't work.
CMU, because it'd be more protection for you,
Right,
yeah,
for us, and then the wood gets termites.
yes,
Yeah, okay.
okay.
So, and I'm on the Arbor side, so if the back people wanted the picket, or the other side wanted picket, at least on the Arbor side, I'd love to see it just all CMU, and if it could be even taller, I'd be up for that. Okay, and then,
CMU,
so I'm a little concerned with hearing about the encroachment. I'm sorry. First, the driveway, and the picture of the driveway now doesn't seem to have a little bit of plants going along the cinder block between the driveway and Arbor side. They were thinking that they were going to have something, narrow dirt way with some
The
shrubbery that would,
The landscape plan does call out for an 18-inch planter between the edge of the driveway and this new CMU wall
Yeah.
that would be planted with Melaleuca kinkinervia, which is a really narrow, tall,
okay.
fast-growing small tree.
To keep sound from bouncing off of
Shrubby
so
tree.
much
Shrubby tree.
cement, CMU. Okay, then my other real major concern is in regards to flooding. And I've brought this up a couple of times and everybody said, oh, don't worry, we've taken care of all that. But as I see even the new piece of property being developed and stuff that I had read, with the government reporting on flooding and things, makes me wonder, okay, first off, in Mr. Cruz's lot, originally, there was a dry creek bed. And I watched twice that I've lived here for like 20 years, there were twice that it became a lake. And then the lake got large enough that it would run into Arbor's land and then out to the slough,
Okay.
the creek. And so now I've been assured that's not going to happen anymore because they've raised it. There's a cinder block. Okay. But my question is where is that water that used to do that? Where is it going? Because now Arbor is the lowest spot.
Yeah.
And we're trailers. So we're also, not only is our ground lower, but our homes are lower. And I'm wondering what they're doing. Because when I first moved in, I did checks for that reason and found that Arbor had been given an exemption back in the 90s, I believe it was, to not put in a huge metal, where
Thank you.
water goes down? Drain, metal drain out there on Carp Avenue. Okay, so,
Well, Karen, I'll cut to the chase here. It's going to drain to Carp Ave, which is going to drain right to Franklin Creek.
so it's going to go drain uphill to Franklin Creek out of Arbor.
Yeah. You're
Out of Arbor's lower than Franklin Creek,
It-
but it's going to go up and into,
So Karen, what we didn't show on the screen, but is included in part of the plan, is their approved grading and drainage plan. Excuse me. And it includes catch basins at the rear of the property and then a storm drain. So we have to remember that the site's getting elevated now, so it's not going to be as low as it was. So it's designed that material was brought in to raise up the grade to what we call positive drainage.
Right.
So we have, the plans show, the drainage plans show catch basins in the back of the property that will take like the water from the roof and the downspouts and then capture that. And now that the site is raised, you've got this grade now out to Carpinteria Avenue. And plus you have a CMU wall, right? So we don't have openings in the wall that would let the water, move out into properties surrounding it.
well, that would be nice, thank you.
And Karen, that was reviewed by our public works
Thank you,
staff
Richard.
and
Okay,
engineering.
well,
Richard's
so
worth 1,000 words.
as I said, I hadn't really concerned myself in the last 2 times I've been up here talking. But as I said, I'm becoming more concerned because on the government website, Geological Survey,
Yes.
that's been updated since I had originally looked. And the water that's going to end up, right, if you look at the land, the village garden, is it garden, village garden? It's the highest. So I've told people kind of in a joking way, if there's a big flood and you see it coming, go over to their property and stand
That's
in their middle
correct.
area, because I know.
They've
that's-
built it
I'm
up
letting
for
you
a
know,
reason.
I have been looking at this.
Our Arbor
Okay.
was grandfathered in.
Right, I know.
And today, it would not be there.
I understand.
So, again, the flooding issue has been resolved.
Okay, so, and where did they resolve the water coming from? Because from what I have seen, it doesn't come from Franklin Creek. The
No.
water's coming from, is it Carpinteria Creek behind Albertsons? And then it will be coming down Carp Avenue. This is old drawings that showed it coming down
Correct.
Carp Avenue and down the inner side of the freeway.
I
Now,
think
know
I
the
can help with
freeway's
that, Chair.
changed and all of these things, but I
Don't worry.
personally haven't
What,
seen
what, actually,
Get a boat.
there's
There's
a bit of good-
writing, so as the water comes up in Arbor,
yeah.
that's all I'm.
There's a bit of good news for the Carpinteria community as a whole, not just specific to this area, but FEMA has published now, they're called preliminary flood maps, and I encourage you to reach out to our public works staff or myself, and we can direct you to the website. As part of FEMA and county flood control's greater effort after the Thomas Fire, the Thomas Fire debris flow, they published these comprehensive new maps for our whole south part of the county that include all of the drainage basin work that was done, most of it in Montecito, but also Highway 101 project, the Carpinteria bridge project. And so there are many, many properties in Carpinteria where if you look at the existing, what they call firm maps or flood insurance rate maps, are impacted by flood hazard overlays. But now with these maps that are preliminary and not yet adopted, hopefully by the summer they will be, a great number of properties in Carpinteria are now going to be removed from flood hazard overlays, not requiring flood insurance because of a lot of these improvements. And a lot of it was to do with when the Highway 101 project happened and the expanding the creek channels and raising and all of that. Yeah. So acts of God and huge rate events, they do what they do. But in terms of FEMA, the new maps are very positive for the community. Yeah, much greatly reduced flood risk.
Okay, and thank you. Holly, Zoom. I told you it'd be amazing.
Chair Stein, there is no public comment at this time.
Oh, thank you. I just,
Great job, Mr.
Thank you.
Chair. Great
I
job.
always forget that one. Okay. Review by ARB. Anybody? Any questions? Any go forward? We're all good?
Well,
Recommendations?
The only thing I would say is I think the 7-foot-high concrete block wall is probably high enough with the 2-foot wood pickets above that, proportionally speaking. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a 9.5-foot-high concrete block wall.
But that's
from
on
the
the,
neighbors.
isn't that on the backside?
On the backside,
front side.
yeah.
So,
Whoever lives there.
yeah, okay. So, yes to the pickets, no to the
Right.
extension of the block. Okay,
The applicant has not provided all reason of that whole exterior wall.
yeah. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Richard, I'll go your way.
I like the project. I like the colors and the design and all. As far as the wall goes, I kind of would go with a solid cinder block. And as far as you could plant vines on the other side to kind of minimize the mass of it, opposed to having the wood, which will decay and break down over time. So other than that, that's the only comments I got.
Okay?
I'm very supportive of the project. I think a bunch of the features that you've put in the architectural features are great. I really like the roof lines and the stairwell that you did in the front. I think that was a tricky move to get all that in and hidden. So really nice job there. The only comment I would make is about the lighting at Carp Ave. To be sure that it's as bright as can be appropriate with all the uplighting that we don't like to see. But around that curve on Carp Ave, I think as much lighting as is appropriate on the driveway and the walkway would be good. Not moody, but appropriately bright for safety.
So for essentially safety lighting
Yeah.
on the Carpinteria Avenue
It's kind of
side.
dark there
Yeah.
when you drive
Especially with
around.
what's going in across Franklin Creek. the
Right.
Traffic increase.
Right. So, other than that, I think you've done a great job, and it's you're making a really good project out of an awfully tight space.
Okay, Miss Amy.
I think it's a great project. I'm supportive of it. I do have a few, I don't know how to say this, suggestions as far as the landscape plan. I think the arbutus in the front I love that tree. It's appropriate for this space, although I think where you've got them in the front of the house, they might end up being just too big for that space. I think that planter is only about 8 feet wide. And those arbutus, they want to end up being pretty big trees. So you may consider a smaller tree. If the 24-inch box arbutus is what you want, I think that would be fine as well. But just consider going to something maybe with the mature size, it's a little smaller. The Melaleuca quinquenervia hasn't been spec'd in terms of the size that you're planning on planting it initially. That planter's only 18 inches wide, so I think you're going to be relegated probably to a 5-gallon to start. Just make sure they are really fast growing, but just make sure you give them enough space to do what you want them to do. And then be a little careful as you get to that corner property line with getting in conflict with the other tree, the Tristania that you have there.
Okay,
Because they are going to both end up being about the same height eventually.
okay.
Vice Chair Blakemore?
Yes.
Just to make sure I record it right, so make sure that the hedge plantings are spaced enough.
To let them
To let
grow
them
in.
grow.
Because they will end up being big, but the planter space that we have to work with is small, so they're going to have to start small, but they're fast. Would love to see something other than the Palm Springs gravel, just because it's really bright. But maybe a Del Rio or a pea gravel.
Okay.
But that, again, just a suggestion. And then just more of a comment for staff. This plan is fine in terms of the water use, but they haven't actually done any of the WELOS paperwork. I don't think it's any reason to not give approval to this plan, but just for staff to note that this is usually what the city of Santa Barbara requires, but not necessarily the county, not the full WELOS calculations.
Thank you, Vice Chair, and that will be a plan check comment as well on the
Got it.
building code side.
Okay, but I think I think the plans are all appropriate for what you're doing, and I think it's a nice plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask you, would you
Yes.
rather see one versus two? Way to,
No,
no? Okay,
I think with the symmetry of the building and
okay.
I think 2 smaller trees would be nice out there, but I'm just concerned that those arbutus are going to be
That's
pretty
what I'm
big for the
thinking,
space
too.
that they're given there. So,
Ultimately, that's what I was thinking. the
might
same
be a nice
thing.
spot for citrus if you feel like getting into that.
Okay.
Lime trees, they always do well.
I'll talk to the owner.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, I think this is a great project. You've done something with a site that's always been in need. So I'm still in favor of going with the higher block as well. And I think the neighbors, once it gets planted out and covered, would be a nice green space. And from a quiet standpoint or privacy standpoint, I think it would be in the best interest of both properties. I mean, I understand, Richard, what you're saying about the diversity of it, but I'm thinking long-term,
Who's planning the outside of it?
they will. Harbor,
The client?
no. It's on their
neighbors.
side then. The neighbors will plant, and they could do some kind of fig or some kind of plant along there. So, other than that, I think you've done a great job with this and been very, very patient with it. So, the recommendation is for the board, should we consider going forward for final approval to the Community Development Director? I'd entertain a motion to that.
And make sure, Mr. Chair, not to interrupt, but
Yes,
be
sir.
concise on, I'm still not sure if there's consensus on, is it 2 feet of additional CMU or 2 feet of
Well, let me
picket as
ask.
proposed?
It's up to the board.
It's up to the board. CMU, CMU, CMU,
Just for longevity.
CMU, longevity. 4 to 1. We'll go CMU. Richard's going to go.
That's
along.
great, I got that. So that will be included in your motion would
Yes,
be
sir.
like, final approval with the condition that
Extend it 2
the
feet
2 feet of picket as shown on the plans be replaced with 2 feet of
CMU.
additional CMU. Okay.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I'll make that motion. Any second?
I'll second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Fine.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much. Thank you.
Nice job.
Well, no, I understand. In the now, I agree with you, where you'd have that diversity, but 10 years from now.
Higher than the ceiling.
This is about 10 feet.
Okay, so,
Okay, now, moving right along, sorry.
no, you're fine. I just want to make sure.
Now
we
we're
got-
other business.
I don't have any, but you had mentioned that you might have something.
No, the only question,
Oh, we do have a matters by staff. We'll get there just
Yeah,
next.
the only thing I was asking is, who controls the cameras on parking lot 3?
Okay, I'm going to put that in the other business question.
Please do. because we're always watching. Get used to it. It's going to get worse. Consent calendar coming up. I'm going to abstain for October 17th. I was not here.
I have read my part and I approved it.
Okay, we've got a motion. We have a
Second.
And we have a second by Patrick. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And one abstention. Thank you for reading my comments in the minutes. Matters by Planning Commission and Council, don't care. Matters presented by staff, you're up.
Okay. Check that. All right. So, thank you for that. We do have a matters by staff item. Oh, where's my? Okay, so we do have, and we have Sean here as the architect for Carp Summerlin Fire District. So the project here is at our headquarters building on Walnut. I'm sure everybody knows where that is, but here it is. The item before you today is for a pretty small addition and interior remodel. The project would require a development plan revision, as almost all projects would that operate in this zone district, and the concurrent coastal development permit. The director may approve minor projects like that at director level without having to go to the planning commission. And the director feels comfortable with the size of the project, that's a route that we could take with this. However, he didn't feel comfortable not having the ARB at least review it as a matters by staff item. And then if the board feels like it should come back as a full, a standard, preliminary and final review, we could take that step as well. So the determining factor is kind of what your view of the project tonight, and if the matters by staff review, if you're comfortable with the project and the direction is, yeah, this looks okay, and the director can proceed with processing the development plan revision, we would take that route. Or alternatively, if you wanted to see it come back as a full item, then we can just get that agenda, get on the next available agenda, proceed that way. The caveat to that statement was that the director would like to see, in order to avoid an appeal, because we do want the public and the surrounding neighbors to have their opportunity to participate in the project, we will be noticing the project either way for the director level development plan, or if it comes back, development plan revision, or if it were to come back for the full ARB review process, the neighbors are going to get noticed either way. So what the director asked is if the fire district or their architect or agent could reach out to, essentially, I noted 2 properties when I drove by, but Sean identified, or I think Noah at the fire district identified that I missed another property here. So these are, I think, 854 Walnut were the ones I was focused on, but there's another one here, and I can't remember the address. Sean might have it. That where the building's set, like literally all the way back to the back property line here. So the area of the remodel, and I'll show you in the plans here, is at the back here. So the director just wanted to make sure, hey, could we reach out to these neighbors, since they wouldn't, if we went with the matters by staff approach, they wouldn't receive an ARB notice. The only notice that they would get is upon the director's approval, and then the only avenue they have is an appeal. So there was some neighbor outreach, and I'll let Sean take care of that, explaining that. So again, fire department property, the area of work here, the hatched area is the area of the interior of the property, or of the building, the second floor that would be remodeled. So what you've got here is on the back, there's a small balcony, and I'll have another exhibit to show you. And the project proposes to slightly push out the building, the upper floor, to occupy almost all of that balcony, leaving a nice little pocket corner here of the existing balcony space. So it kind of gets infilled here, and then a portion of it would remain, and there's a door out there. So you can see on the demo plan the existing balcony here, and you'll see on the proposed plan what they're proposing to do to essentially just bump out this main, I think it's like the main living area, common area. So you'll see here, if we compare, so existing balcony here, demoing this wall, and now we go up to the proposed, so the old wall and balcony ended here. Now we're simply just pushing it out to occupy that balcony space, but there would be still a small portion of open balcony remaining. So in roof plan, you'll see here, the whole roof gets reworked here, and then again, remaining little portion of balcony there, and there's a door that goes out there as well. Exterior light fixture, since we're here, might as well get your feedback on
There's a window on that.
it all. Yeah, and I'll show you here, Patrick or Board Member O'Connor, and we'll let Sean and John take you through this exhibit here, which they prepared for you. Now, do you want the mouse to point stuff out, or here? I'll give it to you anyway.
Thank you. So it is mostly a remodel of the interior, but as Mr. Banks pointed out, there is an addition which is over the existing balcony, and so there it is. You can see that delineated with the green for the remodel, the yellow for the addition, and we can see the existing back elevation, what it looks like currently, with the balcony wall here, which then becomes this proposed back elevation below, which just shows that wall becoming a full building wall with the roof covering it, to handle that additional living space. No addition to the ground floor, and that's basically the scope. Okay, yeah. And just regarding neighbor noticing, we did, thank you, reach out, or NOAA, with the fire department, reached out to the 3 back neighbors. 2 of them have already responded and said, sounds great, thanks for letting us know. The 3rd one has been delivered the exhibit along with NOAA's contact information and just hasn't gotten back to him. So, but he said the plans were off the front desk, so thinks they have them, or off their front porch. So, thank you.
And that sums it up. So just your feedback on the overall design, neighborhood compatibility, colors and materials, matching fixture, I think you saw, we can go back to if you need. Any public feedback? Is there anybody here that would like to discuss it? We can open it up for that. And then, let us know, let staff know what your feelings are and which avenue you prefer. If that matters by staff review at this level is sufficient, or if you'd like to see the item come back. Either way, it does need the development plan CDP application process, so we have to go that route no matter what. So it's up to your board if you think this presentation is enough to feel comfortable with it, or if you want to see it back here, and we'll go through the full review. And that's it.
Okay, well, thank you. Does anyone want him to repeat everything he said? No. Sorry, Mike. No, just messing. Where's the fireman pole? That's what I want.
It's staying right where it currently is.
Good. Questions?
I just one small question. Is there additional lighting in the back in the new condition that will affect the neighbors up high?
As planned, I do not believe we have any lighting up there because it's up on the 2nd story,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
it's already lit from below. Oh,
Basically, you're just filling in the balcony.
That's right.
Changing the roof line,
That's right.
which actually looks better. I like
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Good, my comments didn't get in there.
Why are the windows off to the side instead of more in the field of plaster?
Yes, sir. So if we saw a floor plan, which
That'd be fine.
do have the full plan.
that might be helpful to see. But are you talking about the back elevation? So they're to
Well,
the
the
side of
side.
the media center. So in the center of the
gable
wall.
end.
Oh, which one? I'm sorry.
Gable end elevation.
Let's
which,
take a look
maybe
at
the
it.
side.
Okay.
Oh, hey, I remembered. You want proposed floor plan or elevations?
Maybe we'll start with the proposed floor plan first.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there is a media center right there in the,
Side, how come?
because the media center is in the middle where they want the all-important TV.
I thought there was a wall. I thought there was a wall.
My brother's a fireman, trust me, I know what's important there. That and the kitchen.
Yeah. So that's the 2 windows are offset on either side of the media center. And then the window to the far left is actually pushed back because there's a balcony there.
I understand that.
And yeah,
Okay.
Does the upper level offset from the lower level face of the wall plane?
yes. So there should be a section in there. There you can see it up at the top. So that's what the existing balcony was already doing.
Okay,
And so
great.
it's just no change really there.
Okay, so you almost have a corner window situation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. That's all I had.
Okay.
Neighbors shown the elevations?
Yes, they were shown that first exhibit with the green and yellow, squares around what's new. So that had an existing and proposed elevation on it for the backside.
Is that John Wolbrandt?
One of them, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay. And he wouldn't have a problem with it.
he did not seem
No.
to.
They used to own that property before they put that, yeah, way back, so.
Developer, isn't he?
No,
Rozek? Okay.
Wolbrandt,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Okay. Guys, any questions with this?
Very
All
supportive.
thumbs up, thumbs up. I think we could do it internally.
Let's, just in case there's anybody here that has a public comment.
I know you don't. Would you? No? Nope. Okay.
Let's check on Zoom since we're
Oh,
here.
I'm sorry. God, I missed it. 1 out of 2, anyway.
There is no public comment at this time.
Thank you, Holly. Okay, bring it back here. If we can handle it internally, I don't see a problem with that unless you guys.
I have no problem with it.
Yeah,
I agree.
agree.
Agree? Unanimous.
Unanimous. All right, submit away.
Submit away.
You don't get to skip the planning part. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, we'll
yeah.
still need to do that part.
Oh, awesome.
You all.
Yeah, I remember when they built that. It's actually not a very great looking building, I know. But at the time, it was futuristic, so. You'll make it better. You will. Thank you. All right. See you, John. Thanks, Sean. Okay, well, now we took care of that. What else we got?
Matters presented by board members. I got your notes about the cameras, but I think you had something else, right?
No,
The
that was it.
independent article? Oh, yeah, I thought you wanted
yeah, I
to do
wanted
something
Richard
on
to
the,
ask him why he designed this big black building behind the mission here.
you could take responsibility for that.
Go ahead,
I
Richard.
love the architecture of it.
Okay,
It
actually,
it reminds me of an equivalent to Trinity Church in downtown New York City with the high rises around it,
oh,
the way it evolves.
okay. Now, were you were
Not
the
a good
original
thing.
architect on the mission, weren't you? Okay, thank you. Okay.
That was
Portions there.
That was
It was
actually,
very classically done. Good job. I
thank you.
like that.
Sorry. Attendance for our next meeting?
So this is an important one
Oh, I won't be here.
because
Oh,
no,
sorry. No, I'm here. I
no,
guaranteed
you cannot
I
do that.
guaranteed you. We all
It
gotta be
is,
here for
it
this
is
one.
the Surfliner, so that's December 12th. It's the only item on the agenda, and we're very, very hopeful that you will all be able to make it.
I think we all will be here for that.
Yes.
What is it?
December 12th?
Yes. We'll have a party.
December 12th?
The director asked that you may consider arriving early
Yes.
because parking could be
Carpool.
impacted.
Okay.
Reserve parking.
We can make accommodations for you if need be. I believe we also will be providing some snacks and maybe some beverages in case the meeting goes
Hendricks,
long.
gin, please.
It's non-alcoholic.
Oh,
Sorry,
What
we
for
need your
gin?
full. Maybe coffee. Maybe
yeah.
coffee will be needed or some other caffeinated beverages.
okay. No,
Okay.
we'll all
Thank
be
you
here.
for all attending. That's important.
And the only thing I would request is, since this is going to be a big one like the Bluffs, is that we'll be up on the dais and then give more room for audience here.
Actually, that's a really good point. Didn't think about that. I'll make a note of that. That's a great point.
Yeah, want to make sure there's enough space for this.
Can
Or
we also,
there-
can we also make a point of covering this vent over here?
Well, you'll be sitting up there.
Well, for future meetings as well.
Oh.
It's always an
For
ice
future
spots
meetings,
over
the
here.
3 people that have to sit here, the 3 of us, freeze for
Notice
the
we have
whole
jackets
duration of the meetings.
Richard, are
Thank
you
you.
cold?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm scared to touch anything in this whole building that has to do with HVAC because if I do that, it'll be I will get bad looks from other peoples that think it's
Yeah.
too warm and then others that think it's too cold.
Well, let's see. Oh,
Icicles, man.
okay. All right, well, we're all going to be here for December 12th.
Thank you.
So we'll stand in adjournment then.
6:24.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
December 12th.
Have a good Thanksgiving, by the way.
Surf liner coming in with their.